This is Big Picture Anatomy with a look at the pulmonary circuit, or how the heart pumps blood out to the lungs to pick up oxygen to deliver to the rest of the body. We start with low oxygen blood returning to the heart from all the other systems of the body where it's delivered that oxygen. Inferiorly, it returns through the inferior vena cava from the abdomen and the legs up into the right atrium of the heart, and it returns from the superior parts of the body, from the head and the arms, through the superior vena cava, just the same, into the right atrium of the heart. From the right atrium, zoom in a little bit, we can see that the blood then goes through what would be the tricuspid or interventricular valve into the right ventricle, where that blood then is pumped out through the pulmonary trunk and then splits into a left pulmonary artery and a right pulmonary artery. From there, the blood continues on out to the lungs. Either one of those pulmonary arteries enters the lung and starts to divide and divide and divide all the way out into every part of the lung, where you get into the tiniest of arterioles that then supply the capillary beds which surround the alveoli or the alveolar sacs in the lungs. We would see that happening on the left side just the same as we would see it happening on the right side. Remember that in our drawing, what we have is going to be the arteries indicated in red, whether the blood is oxygenated or not, and veins indicated in blue. Once the blood is out into the peripheral parts of the lungs, in the alveolar sacs, remember drawn in yellow because of their endodermal or embryonic origin, oxygen is able to diffuse, as we've seen before, right across into the capillaries that surround the alveolar sac. And from those tiny capillaries, then the blood begins to come back into venules, larger and larger veins, until all of those veins reassemble back into what are now the pulmonary veins. And those pulmonary veins then feed their blood, if we zoom in, into what is now going to be the left atrium of the heart. Here's the pulmonary veins coming into the left atrium. This is from the left lung. Please appreciate that from the right lung, here's the pulmonary veins from the right lung. They're cut off here because the drawing gets too messy, but they also go to the left atrium. Both lungs feed into the left atrium. These veins cut across the back of the heart and feed into the left atrium. From there, that blood from the left ventricle, the blood is then pumped out through the aorta, which is not pictured for reasons of simplicity, and we'll see it in the next drawing on the systemic circuit, but through the aorta, which could go right up the center of the heart, arch around, and deliver that oxygenated blood out to all of the other tissues of the body. Just to recap, what we've got then is deoxygenated or low oxygen blood arriving through the superior vena cava, the inferior vena cava to the right atrium, into the right ventricle, pumped out the pulmonary trunk and through the left pulmonary artery and the right pulmonary artery out to every part of the lung as those arteries split to the alveolar sacs where the capillaries surround the alveoli and oxygen is picked up. That blood then comes back through a system of converging veins, the pulmonary veins, into the main left pulmonary veins and right pulmonary veins, which are cut off, but they would go across the heart, back of the heart, into the left atrium. All the pulmonary veins dump into the left atrium, down into the left ventricle, and that nice oxygenated blood is then pumped out by the big muscular left atrium through the aorta, not pictured. We'll see it in the next video, out to the rest of the body. That's the pulmonary circuit from Big Picture Anatomy.